What you're about to see was filmed 7,000 feet underground, deeper than any human being has ever gone and lived to tell about it. For 27 days, Dr. Elena Varga was trapped in the deepest place on Earth. She was supposed to die down there. Instead, she discovered something that will change everything we thought we knew about life itself. But I'm getting ahead of myself. This story begins in Romania, where a hole in the ground hides the most incredible secret our planet has ever kept. This is Krubera Cave, 208 feet straight down into absolute darkness. It's so deep that if you dropped the Empire State Building into it, it would disappear completely. For 60 years, explorers have been descending into this abyss. Most come back changed. Some don't come back at all. What they found down there wasn't supposed to exist. The year was 1963 when Soviet speleologists first rappelled into Krubera's maw. Their mission was simple: map the unmappable, chart the void. What they discovered would rewrite our understanding of life itself. At 6,000 feet below the surface, where the pressure could crush a human skull like an eggshell, where the temperature never varies from a bone-chilling 42 degrees Fahrenheit, where no photon of light has ever penetrated, life was waiting. Dr. Elena Varga was not supposed to be here. A marine biologist by training, she had spent her career studying creatures in Earth's oceans. But in 2018, she found herself 4,000 feet underground, part of an international expedition pushing deeper into Krubera than anyone had gone before. The expedition had been underground for 12 days when Elena noticed something impossible. In a pool of water so isolated it had been cut off from the surface world for millions of years, something moved. Proteus anguinus krubera, a blind, translucent salamander unlike anything science had catalogued. Its skin was so thin you could see its heart beating, a crimson pulse in the eternal night. This creature had been surviving in complete darkness for longer than humans have existed. But Elena's discovery was just the beginning. As the team pushed deeper, 5,000 feet, 6,000 feet approaching the very bottom of the known world, the cave began to reveal its secrets. Bacterial mats glowed with bioluminescence, creating constellations in the void. Colonies of extremophile organisms fed not on sunlight, but on the chemical reactions of the rock itself. At 6,147 feet below the surface, deeper than anyone had ever been, the expedition made a discovery that would change everything. The cave floor wasn't a floor at all, it was a ceiling. Below them stretched another void, another world entirely. What they found in that deepest chamber defied explanation. The water wasn't just alive, it was ancient life. Microorganisms that had been evolving in isolation for 5.5 million years, since before the Mediterranean Sea refilled after. They were pioneers of a different kind of existence entirely. But on day 21, as Elena collected her final samples from the deepest point ever reached by human beings, disaster struck. The earthquake registered 4.2 on the Richter scale at the surface. 7,000 feet down, it felt like the world was ending. The passage that had taken the team 3 weeks to navigate collapsed in 3 minutes. Elena and 2 others were trapped in the deepest chamber, surrounded by life forms that had never known the touch of the surface atmosphere. For 6 days, rescue teams worked around the clock. Meanwhile, 7,000 feet below, Elena made a discovery that would justify every risk they had taken. In the eternal darkness, she watched the cave's ecosystem respond to the trauma of the collapse. The bioluminescent bacteria didn't just glow brighter, they began to communicate, pulsing in patterns that suggested a collective intelligence evolved over millions of years. The blind salamanders gathered in groups they had never formed before, as if comforting each other in the chaos. The ancient microorganisms released chemical signals that seemed to calm the entire ecosystem. Elena realized she wasn't just witnessing survival, she was witnessing compassion. In the deepest, darkest place on Earth, life had learned not just to endure, but to care for itself. When the rescue team finally broke through, they found Elena cradling a small container of cave water. Inside swam specimens of life forms that predated human existence by millions of years, living fossils that had been patiently waiting in the dark for someone to discover their secrets. The samples Elena brought to the surface have revolutionized our understanding of life's tenacity. These organisms don't just survive without sunlight, they thrive. They've developed methods of energy production that could hold keys to sustaining life on other planets, in other star systems, in conditions we once thought impossible. But perhaps more importantly, they've taught us something about resilience, about community, about the quiet dignity of life that persists against all odds. Today, Krubera Cave remains largely unexplored. Its deepest chambers still hold secrets we can barely imagine. The creatures Elena discovered continue their ancient existence, unbothered by the brief human intrusion into their eternal world. We spend so much time looking up at the stars, searching for signs of life in the vast darkness of space. But perhaps the most profound truth about life's persistence isn't written in distant galaxies. Perhaps it's written in the spaces we've forgotten to look, in the deep places beneath our feet, where life has been quietly, patiently, brilliantly solving the puzzle of existence for millions of years before we ever thought to ask the question. In the deepest cave on Earth, in the most impossible conditions imaginable, life doesn't just survive. It's been quietly, patiently, brilliantly solving the puzzle of existence for millions of years before we ever thought to ask the question. In the deepest cave on Earth, in the most impossible conditions imaginable, life doesn't just survive. It teaches.